Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of A Year in Cards. This month we're going to be focusing on a supply that we often use in cards, but maybe not in this way. We're going to be focusing on buttons, and I've got a whole slew of buttons. These are just two packs of buttons from Basic Grade. They actually come packaged, like on the cardboard back or whatever, and I just put them into bags. These are from Nook and Pantry Collection and Junebug Collection. I'm going to be using these buttons for these three cards, so if you're looking for the same colors that I'm using, those are from those two collections. And I'm going to start out by making a card that I've done some prep work for. And so I'll tell you what I've got going here. I've got a craft card base. It's just a standard size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches and folded in, so it's folded in half. That's the final size. Then I have some paper from the Nook and Pantry Collection. That's because I wanted this brown color. I also have this paper from the Nook and Pantry Collection, and I've cut this out using my Cricut cutting machine and then also a design that I created. And I'll tell you how to do this if you don't have a Cricut in a minute here. And then I also have this scallop circle frame that I cut out with my Cricut. And I used Junebug paper for this because I wanted this brighter red. Nook and Pantry, I don't know if there's... Oh, you can't see any on these, but in the Nook and Pantry Collection from Basic Grade, there's sort of like a muted rose color. It's not as bright of a red, but I really like this bright red. So I'm combining the two collection packs together. And the way you can do this without a Cricut machine is what you do is you just take a scallop circle punch and you punch out the scallop circle. Wait, just kidding. You need two punches. You need the scallop circle and you need a plain circle that's smaller than the interior of the scallop circle. And what you do is you take your paper and you cut the circle, just the inside, or you punch it out, and then you go ahead and punch out the scallop around the outside, and that will give you this little frame. Okay, and right here I have some like off-white cardstock, and I'm going to be putting my buttons on here. So I picked up my buttons earlier and I just put down some adhesive and put them on this paper. And I created sort of like a heart. So you zoom in so you can see. And what I did was I put the buttons out on my work surface. I put some adhesive down here and then I pressed it down on so that it stays in this little formation. And now I'm hoping that this will work. I'm going to put mini glue dots on each one of these and then I'll turn it over and apply it to my card. And that makes it so that I'm not trying to assemble it on the card with the glue dots and have it not look the way I want it to look. So I got some mini glue dots, and I always pull my glue dots off with some scissors just because it's a little bit easier to handle them. Because glue dots don't stick to metal as well as they do to paper. And I'm hoping these buttons come off. Usually buttons won't really stick with just regular adhesive. So I'm counting on that fact that I'll be able to pull them off this paper. Oh, not really. I'm cleaning this up with some removable adhesive. Okay, so I've got my little heart. I'm going to adhere this with the dimensional adhesive so it's sort of got like a window effect. I'm going to zoom out really quick here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to take the dimensional adhesive wherever I put it. And I'm just going to put some on the outside edges. Okay. Then I'm going to take this little scallop and I'll be adhering it onto that right there. And because it's such a thin piece, I'm going to use some liquid glue. This is Tombow Mono Multi Glue. Then it's just a matter of assembling it onto the card base. So I'm going to go ahead and put some dimensional adhesive on this one. And what I'm going to do, because I've already got one layer of dimensional adhesive up here at the top, I'm going to double it up on these ones down here so that it sits evenly on the card. Okay, and then I'll put this one straight on the card there. And luckily, where I placed the dimensionals, it will let me just put that right on through. Okay, and I'm just going to adhere this to the card. And I don't want it to come up any more than it already is, so I'm just going to put mini glue dots on the back. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw some stitching lines around this outer edge. Okay, and there's card 1 for this month, and we'll head right into card 2. For card number 2, I'm going to do sort of like a button arrangement with some flower stems. I'm just going to show you how to do that right now. I cut my card base. This is some brown cardstock from American Crafts. This is also a standard size card, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches tall, and I cut it so that it opens vertically. And then I have some off-white cardstock. It's the same color that was used on card 1, and it's cut down to 3 inches high by 4 1/4 inches wide. And then I've got some pattern paper. This is from the June Bug collection, and I'm going to be using the orange side. And the first thing I'm going to do with this pattern paper is I'm going to just punch it with a Fiskars Threading Waters punch. Okay. Alright, I'm going to set that aside for a minute. I'm going to adhere these down to this card base, and I'm just kind of arranging them in sort of a sporadic pattern. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything really organized, because I'm just going to draw in the stems as soon as I have them on the card or onto the cardstock. And in fact, you know what, I was just going to go straight to the marker, but if you're not ready for that, you could always use a pencil. And I'm just going to draw some kind of curved stems. These are going to be the flower stems. Okay, I'm just going to draw those in. Okay, and now I'm going to draw in some leaves. And I'm just going to make little cat eye shapes. Okay, so now we have our flowers with the buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down below. Okay, and that's going to go on the card just like that, and then I'll do some ribbon and some faux stitching on it. Okay. Do some stitching. This will draw in, you know, it'll make it look even more like the first card, so they look like a set. Here's the We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. This is the 1/2 inch corner rounder. Okay, so here are the first 2 cards. We're gonna do the third card right now. Okay, for card 3, we're gonna do a little bit of just repetition. Repetition is one of the design elements that I actually really use quite a bit and I love. So I thought I'd just try it out with these buttons. So these are sort of the arrangement I want them in. I'm going to cut out a red heart and put a little word inside. But in order to get them arranged perfectly square on the card, I'm going to try that technique I tried in the first card, and I'm hopefully going to make it work a little bit better this time. I've got this square cut out to 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and I'm going to use, I'm just going to arrange them on here. So they're touching each corner and side. Scratch paper, it's that one I was using earlier, so I'm just going to tear that off. Okay, that is big enough. Okay, and I'm going to use removable adhesive on it. I'm just going to coat that really liberally. And then, okay, that's more like it. Okay, and that's going to help me just be able to turn it over and get it on the card center. This is a 4.5 by 4.5 inch card, and I made it that size because I have some 5-inch envelopes that I'm going to use. So 4.5 inches is perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to apply the mini glue dots. I'm just going to place this over the center of the card. Hopefully I got that pretty center. Then I can peel this up. And the removable adhesive will still be on there a little bit, but I can clean that up in a minute. Okay, so there I've got my basic buttons onto the card. Now I'm going to take some paper. This is what I cut the scallop out of on the first card. And I'm just going to draw a little heart on the opposite side. Okay, so there's my heart, and it's going to go right there to finish off that pattern. So I'm just going to write, use some removable adhesive on the back just to make it so it sticks to something larger that I can look at. And I'm just going to write U right there in the middle with a white gel pen. Okay. Okay, so there's the third card, and here are the other two. So just some fun ways to use buttons. I hope you enjoyed, and please join me over at the message boards over at twopeasindabucket.com. If you have any questions, I can answer them there. And also post your cards that you make, images of your cards, to the Two Peas Gallery, and you'll have a chance to win a twopeasindabucket.com store gift certificate. So thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you guys next month.